Welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. This is all about talking about the top 10 most asymmetric games. Now, asymmetry is a very interesting discussion in the worlds of board games, defining as what is asymmetry. Is it variable player powers because everyone's doing something a bit differently, especially if everyone does something differently? Is it different win conditions? There's lots of different ways of defining it. And I'm generally going with a list that I've gone with my mind in what I think is what first comes to mind. But also, I'll be keen to know your views on what else you consider to be asymmetric and what you like to play that is asymmetric. So first up, very much a quintessential game which many people think is asymmetry in many respects, and that is the game Root. Everyone is very, very different. Everyone interacts very differently with each other. Everyone has very different actions. However, it is a game whereby ultimately the most victory points wins. So of all these different things we've talked about, yes, it's only one type of win condition. Fair enough, it is a winning game. Maybe there's games whereby you have to lose. But in this case, Root covers a lot of those bases and is, I guess, typically synonymous with the phrase of something that's being asymmetric. Quite a difficult word to pronounce, even sometimes spell. Do check out my playlist, though, for games such as Root, and also do check out my link through to Root as well, which includes the expansion, at least the first big expansion. Next up, actually, is another game which came out before Root, but by the same designer, and this is called Vast. So Vast is also very interesting, where we have the princess trying to interact with various people like the dragon. You've got the cave. You can actually play a cave that's trying to collapse the people in the cave. And again, it's not as smooth as Root in some respects, but it's still a lovely game to play, and I do recommend you check that one out. And obviously, Root has got these lovely woodland realm, wooden creatures. And I guess the downside potentially with Root is the fact there's lots of different card iconographies in different corners, and they all interact differently, and it can be a bit too much for some people. So I can understand why Root can be a problem. The other problem with Root is the fact it takes about 30 minutes per player, but equally you've got to teach each individual faction to every player, which can take some time too. So the next game up is quite different. It's Memoir 44. Quite a different kind of game in terms of the definition of maybe what asymmetry is, because you have one person playing against another, but you might actually have different amount of factions and units, which can have an impact on how the game plays out, and in terms of the win conditions and how many points you might need to win as well. So I think it's quite an interesting game, and I would definitely say it has quite a lot of those merits relating to what defines asymmetry. The next game up, this is a very pure asymmetric game. I've talked about it in many, many other videos. This is Hnefatafl, or the Viking game, a two-player only game, light against dark. And what you're looking to do is have dark on the outside over twice the amount of pieces as white in the centre, trying to capture the king, whereas white are trying to escape and trying to reach one of the corners to get out and win. So check out my two-player playlist and my abstract strategy playlist as well. Fantastic game, Hnefatafl. Next game up is a game that kind of was an implementation of it, which I helped with in the design of, and that is called Thieves. It did win Game of the Year, and this is a game very similar to it in some respects, but